Hi, I'm Matthew and welcome to MK Images. I'm here to help you get better at Photoshop, teach you some basic tricks, and just improve your skill as an editor, whether you're just starting off in Photoshop or you know a little bit of thing or two, but you're just looking for a little bit of guidance. Now, this image here, obviously, we have a nice little picture of a little baby, and of course, one problem with babies are that they do have red skin, and it can be a bit annoying because you have blotchy skin, and it just doesn't look right to be sending your clients images of babies with blotchy skin. It just doesn't look right. So we want to get rid of that. We want to make those blotchy red skin more of a natural skin tone, and that's what this video is about. So I have this baby here. Obviously, you can see that there are some blotchy red on the eyes. I mean, here on the eye here as well, even on the legs here as well, and they're just blotchy red skin that we want to make a more natural skin tone. So in order to do that, we just start off on the background layer and we duplicate the background layer because you don't want to be working on the background layer. You just want to be working non-destructively. So we duplicate the background layer, and to do that, it's just Command J. Straightforward. Now, to alter those reds, we need an adjustment layer. So we go down to this icon here, a little circle with a half circle. We click on that and we go to Hue Saturation. Now, the next thing we do is we click on the hand tool, which is here, and we hover over an area where we actually want to change. So if we click on here, that then samples the color that we've clicked on. And we are actually now free to change that color as we wish. So obviously this is a bit strange to do this, but I would ask you to put your sliders right up to the top here to begin with. I know this is weird and you wouldn't actually use this. And we go down to this bar here, and you can see that if you move this bar, it's then affecting the area. This is the area that it's affecting. So obviously that's quite a large area, that's quite a small area. So we want to make it about here because we've got red skin on the face, we've got red skin on the legs. So that would be the area that we can affect. Now, these little tabs here, these little markers here, are the transition between the area that we're affecting and the area that's not affected. So we can change that as well. So obviously we can alter that to our liking. And I would say that that's probably about right. Those are the areas that we want to start modifying. So we then go back to the hue slider and we want to bring that back to 0. So back to 0, bring the saturation back to 0. And then we can go about changing that hue to be a more likable color, a more natural skin tone. So we can start changing it. And you can see the more I go to the right, it starts to turn more yellowish. And that's heading in the right direction. So we want to maybe put that about 10 perhaps. And we can also alter the saturation. So maybe we'll want to bring the saturation down a little bit, maybe -4. And we can also change the lightness. We can add that, make it more light, make it more dark, those areas. So for the time being, we'll just leave it at that. Now, obviously this isn't done. We need to look at this, which is the mask. Now that's obviously the effect that has been applied to the whole of the image. So in order to hide the effect, we need to invert the mask. So we go to Command I. So we now got black mask. And the idea going forward now is to paint in the areas that we want to affect, the areas that we want to apply the effect that we've just created. Obviously with a black mask, nothing is being seen. So we want to go to the brush tool. So press B for your brush. You can alter the size of your brush by the right and left bracket keys on your keyboard. I've actually got mine set up to Q and W, which I believe is just a little bit simpler. There are ways and means that you can do that. That's probably the topic for another video. So you want to paint in the area that you've affected, but you do need to be aware of the flow, because the flow is the amount of the effect that you are laying down in one brush stroke. So you can build that up over time. So I would set it at 10% to begin with, and then you can just keep painting in the effect. So that's what we're going to do. So we make sure this color is white, so we're painting in white. To change that, it's X, but we want to paint the foreground color white. And then we just want to paint on the areas that we want to change. So maybe here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Make the brush a bit bigger, maybe on these legs areas here as well, maybe here. Maybe this foot's a little bit too red, alter that. We want to be careful that we don't change the lips. If we do touch the lips here, we want to press X so the foreground color is black and paint that red back in because we don't really want to affect the lips. So that's really the basic principle of changing the hue of a particular area. Now, if you go to this eyeball tool here and we turn this off and on, it's very subtle, but you can see a slight change. And we can also alter that. So say we want to maybe make it lighter, you know, we can start putting the lightness up. And I think in this particular image, that does actually look quite good. So if we bring the lightness up to about 30, we're really getting rid of those reds. You can play with these sliders till your heart's content, just adjusting the lightness, the saturation. Maybe you want to adjust the hue a bit more, maybe it's not quite right. But you can see here before and after, and it has made a significant difference to the redness of the baby's skin. Now obviously this edit is not completely finished. There are marks on the baby's skin, flaky skin that we would want to remove either with the spot healing brush or the healing brush tool. That's something that we may cover in a different video, but this video is just basically to get you used to the hue and saturation to change the color from blotchy red to a more natural skin tone. So that's basically it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.